In the most recent data, 63% of the U.S. population self-identify as Christians, making the U.S. the leading country with the most self-proclaimed Christians in the world. But the question is, when you look at people in the United States, do you see Christ? Do you think by mere observance you would call Americans true followers of Christ in the real sense of the word? Now, I'm not here to talk about Christianity in the U.S. or any other place in the world for that matter, but really to ask one question. And I'm intending this question primarily to men, though it could apply to everyone. Are you a true follower of Christ? You see, God has placed upon us as men to lead. He has created us with the potential to lead our families and to be an influence over those around us, to share God's light in the world, and even take up leadership in our communities. But most Christian men do not stop to think about what it takes to be the kind of a leader who has a godly influence over those around them. You see, to be a great and godly leader, you must first be a follower. Leadership starts with following, learning to follow, mastering to follow, and then you can lead. Everyone in the world can influence someone, and leadership is about influence. That means you can lead someone or some people because there's at least one person out there who's watching you, who's inspired by you to some degree. But the question is, as a man with leadership potential, who do you follow? Now, I mentioned those stats about the current state of Christianity in the U.S. because I wanted you to draw something from it. It's one thing to claim something, it's another to be something. Do you know how followers of Christ got their name? The term was first used by the Greeks in Antioch as recorded in Act 11, verse 26. The speech and conduct of Christ's disciples were centered on Jesus. They talked like him, treated others like him, and acted like him. They were called Christians, little Christs, because they had the Jesus effect on others. But when you look at Christians around you, or more specifically, when you look at yourself, can people say the same about you? If you claim to follow Christ, are the fruits of that evident? Because Jesus said, "By their fruits ye shall know them." A mango tree can never bear apples. A mango tree will always bear mangoes. Who do you follow? Everyone follows someone or something. Friends, popular culture, wealth, family, you name it. We all follow something because it's in our nature. If you do not follow Christ, there's someone or something else you are following. You are either a true follower of Christ or follower of someone or something else. Following Jesus means striving to be like him. He was obedient toward God, so we also strive to do that. Following Jesus is making him the Lord or boss of your life. We learn to filter our dreams and decisions through his word to glorify him in everything. I don't want you to misunderstand me. Things we do for Christ are not what saves us, but a reflection of what he has done in us. Following Christ doesn't mean we will never struggle in different areas of life. Struggling with sin is a common Christian experience. We all struggle because our renewed spirit is still trapped in the sinful flesh, whose natural inclinations are against God's will. But remember this, Christianity is an ongoing life of repentance because we'll sin in one way or another. But because of God's grace, we want to please him in everything. That is accomplished when we allow the Jesus to have complete control of every area in our lives. To follow Christ means asking, if it was Christ, would he do this? Would he say this? Would he react like this? And then moving according to how he moved. The world is in need of godly men to take up their place of leadership. But good leadership starts by being a good follower. And to be a man with godly influence over others, you must follow Christ wholeheartedly. You must learn to lead yourself in godly ways first before exercising leadership over others. I believe part of the reason we're seeing abysmal rates of divorce in the world, even within Christian couples, is because the men have failed. Take an example. In the world of business, many struggling companies, when facing hardships, make changes in the leadership and things usually return back to business. In soccer, head coaches are sacked and new ones appointed for teams to perform better. My point is, the success or failure of an organization is determined by its leadership. The common reasons for divorces are financial struggles, lack of commitment, infidelity, poor communication, just to name a few. I believe if godly men can rise to take godly leadership over their household, over their marriages and relationships, divorces won't stop. But we won't see what we're witnessing today. You may claim women are part of the issue. But just imagine if you were a godly man who follows Christ, who's fully committed to the well-being of your wife and children, who is faithful, who communicates with love and clarity, who makes time for your loved ones, who has a God-honoring financial source and provides for your wife's and children's needs. One who, as Ephesians 5 describes, loves your wife like your own body. Just tell me, if we had godly men like this, wouldn't women want to submit and stick to such a man? We need to rise up as men and assume godly leadership over ourselves, families, and our community. And that will start when we learn to be great followers of Christ. The reason our young generation is becoming more ungodly is partly because they did not grow around to see good examples of godliness and Christlikeness. And that starts with the men of the house who decide to follow Christ and have a godly influence on those around them. Remember, everyone has the potential to be a leader because leadership is about influence. And there's at least one person out there who's watching you, who's inspired by you. So what influence will you have on them? By the way, don't forget to show some love by subscribing to Men with Chest and liking this video. Until next time, God bless.